Ron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Ron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Ron done messed up. I done messed up, you guys. I done messed up. About a year ago, a year and change ago, last March 2025, I did a video called Why I Stopped Doing Videos with Tommy Scoville. And in that video, I gave my reasons. And my reasons were actually not related to what we're here to talk about today. When I first started doing videos with Tommy Scoville, it was in the aftermath of the conviction of Danny Masterson. And I was doing content about what Danny could expect for his life sentence in prison and all this kind of stuff. I'd done videos with some cops, some ex-cops, a former police chief, some lawyers and all this stuff. And Tommy Scoville emailed me and said he'd been a longtime viewer and a fan and had spent 10 years in prison for robbing banks, and that he had spent time in the level of facility that Danny Masterson would be in, and none of the other people that I've been speaking with on my videos could say the same, and so that he was a better source of information. So I started doing videos with Tommy because he was an ex-con who went to jail for robbing banks and could speak with authority on what that experience would be like. What I did not know is that Tommy Scoville is not just an ex-con for robbing banks. He's actually a con man. And it turns out he's a rapist. And the fact that someone would try to embed themselves into the ex-Scientology community and the SPTV community and my community in the midst of a rape trial and rape conviction, such as Danny Masterson, knowing that he himself had committed rape upon a 15-year-old girl, is absolutely horrifying and disgusting. And I unknowingly brought a rapist into the SPTV community. Now, the words I'm not using is that he's a convicted rapist, because what Tommy was convicted of was sexual assault. The charge was not rape. And so he's not a convicted rapist. The crime that he committed was a rape. And Tommy Scoville is a rapist. And whereas I sort of get blamed for bringing a lot of people into the community, there is one person who is only in this community because of me. And that is Tommy Scoville. By the way, do you ever wonder why Tommy Scoville doesn't use his real name? His real name is Brett Miller. I was a little embarrassed that I knew Tommy Scoville for a long time before I even knew that wasn't his name. Maybe I should have known that, but maybe he should have told me. If you have a name that's just your stage name, it's just for performance, it's just a character that you play, it's not normal to pretend to everyone in your life that that's your actual name. It seems to me, from everything I've seen, and I'm going to share with you everything I've seen, that the reason Brett Miller uses the name Tommy Scoville is so that when he's infiltrating communities, he can feed you the narrative that he wants you to have about what his criminal history is. He doesn't want people to be able to look up what his actual criminal history was and what he's actually been charged with and what he's actually been convicted of and what he's actually done crime for. Because it turns out he didn't even rob banks. And it's weird to be like, he didn't even rob banks. But it's like when you've got a guy, you know, who infiltrates the ex-con community, you know, there's a whole sphere of influencers who are former convicts. In that world, there's certain types of clout, I guess. And I guess saying that you robbed a bank is better than saying that you got a guy to rob a bank and then you robbed the guy. I'm not saying Tommy would be a much better guy if he robbed banks, but I'm saying you were going to see, after everything that gets presented and discussed in this video today, this guy is a con man every step of the way. Every step of the way. This guy is a con man. And he was exposed as a con man by his girlfriend, Reese Quibble, Relatable Reese. He was exposed as a man who in the present day, as recently as last year, was admitting that he scams women on the internet out of tens of thousands of dollars. And he looks for the vulnerable ones, and he digs into their history, and he researches their past, and he picks one off from the herd. And his girlfriend, Reese, recorded him admitting all these things and saying that he's a scumbag who cons women out of money. And his brother's a scumbag too, and they fleece women, and they do it even when they don't need to. She exposed him. Now, she did not expose him as a rapist. That came later, and we're going to cover that information as well. But so first, Tommy infiltrated the recovery community, even though he was on drugs, pretended to have a recovery channel, infiltrate the recovery community. That was this channel right here, The Lifeboat. This is Tommy Scoville's channel, The Lifeboat, where when Tommy first came to my notice and we started doing videos together, he said that when he was in prison, he got sober. I was under the impression that Tommy was totally sober. Then later, when it came to my attention that he was doing pills and drinking, I was like, but I thought you ran a recovery channel. He goes, no, I'm not for abstinence. I'm for responsible use. And I was like, oh, okay. That's not the impression I was under. No judgment. But if you're running a recovery channel, you think you're not doing pills and other drugs and drinking. Just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that wasn't your real name. In retrospect, thinking that anyone's got the name Tommy Scoville makes me feel pretty stupid. But so this is Tommy's main channel, The Lifeboat. And this is where he finds women to scam on the internet out of tens of thousands of dollars, according to his own words, as recently as last year. And then this is the other channel that he runs with his girlfriend, Reese, who exposed him as a con man and then got back together with him. And I honestly don't know what her explanation is. Like, I don't watch Reese's videos. I don't know if Reese has said, I apologize for recording him. Does she say, I apologize for exposing him? That wasn't fair. And so I take it back. He didn't really say those things. He wasn't really scamming those women. He didn't really say those words. Or I don't know if she said, look, I apologize for making a private relationship issue and blasting it out on the internet. I regret that. It makes me feel like a bad person, but she still says it's true. I don't know if she's saying, you know, it was all true. I'm glad I exposed it because it caused Tommy to see the error of his ways, even though he's been a rapist, a drug addict, and a con man his entire life. I guess now in the last 12 months, he's changed his ways and seen the errors of his, I guess he found Jesus. Like, I don't know what Reese's explanation is for why she did a video exposing Tommy and saying that he was a threat to her life and her son's life, and then took him back and collaborates with him. I don't know the explanation. I'm just saying this is the channel where they do content together. This is the channel where Tommy mostly does it by himself. And then this is his brother's channel, Johnny Scoville, Kurt Miller. You're going to see in the recordings that I'm going to play for you that were recorded by his girlfriend, Reese, Tommy throws his brother, Kurt Miller, aka Johnny Scoville, under the bus. This is Johnny's channel, Chase the Heat in South America. And he says, my brother is the type of scumbag that will help me keep fleecing this woman for money even after I'm done with her. Jesus Christ. By the way, spoiler alert, shortly after his true criminal history was put out there on the internet, him and his brother left the country and moved to Ecuador. And in the process of just looking up, honestly, just looking for some photos that I could use for this video, I found this incredible post online talking about why they allegedly went to Ecuador. And it involves all sorts of conspiratorial tales of, you know, I asked one person who knows them personally, and that person said, oh, they were getting death threats. I'm like, a hardened ex-con was getting death threats and fled the country to Ecuador. I don't really believe that. And then I found a post online, literally in the Ecuador group on Reddit. Okay, R Ecuador. This just came up in a Google search for their name, saying that the story they're spinning down there is that somebody reported Tommy and Johnny to the Department of Homeland Security in Arizona, claiming that the two of them were human trafficking people across the Mexican border, and they were being trailed by federal agents for months, and so fled the country to Ecuador. Guys, I got to tell you, if some internet haters were reporting me to the federal authorities for human trafficking and they knocked on my door, I'd be like, good afternoon, agents. Come on in. Let's have a chat. That's if I was in a good mood. The truth is, the proper response would be, I don't talk to the cops. Bye. But none of this makes sense. I'm just floating that out there, guys. So this guy who's been committing crime his entire life and conning people his entire life, randomly up and fled the country with his brother, by the way, leaving their elderly mother back at home where they both lived with her. Both fled the country to Ecuador. What are they doing? Charitable work down there? Okay. Everything we're going to be talking about today, I'm taking my time, guys. This video might go on for 2 hours, okay? I'm taking my time. We're going to be here for a little bit. Everything that we're discussing today is bubbling to the surface because of just some really, really strange activity that's been going on in the ex-Scientology community, the SPTV community, for months now. And for some strange reason that I cannot figure out, I only have guesses. For some strange reason, it all relates to Tommy fucking Scoville, a guy I don't care about, a guy I don't think about at all, a guy I don't talk about. I could not imagine anyone I think about or care about less than Tommy fucking Scoville and his brother, Brett Miller and Kurt Miller. You go, Jesus, you're doing a video about him. You must care about him a lot. I'm explaining how we got to where we are today, right now. Okay. And then it relates to Brett's. I'm going to call him Brett instead of Tommy. I don't know why. I'll probably go back and forth. And it relates to Brett's girlfriend, Reese. And I still don't truly know that I understand what the hell is going on. But before I show you like the actual docs, we're going to go through this stuff. I just really need to kind of try to at least explain to you how we got here. So all my longtime viewers know who Reese is. We've done tons of videos together. You guys know the story. You guys know our whole history together. Everyone knows what happened. I won't even get into all that because it has a lot to do with why I stopped doing videos with her. I mean, what happened, but also the lies that get told about what happened are actually the reasons I stopped doing videos with both Tommy, Brett, and Reese. Now, I did that video, like I said, March 2025. What happened when I helped Reese get going on her own on YouTube is Reese very quickly fostered and built her own community, as was the goal. I was doing everything in my power to help her build her own community. I wanted to help her have as much success as possible on YouTube. Did everything in my power. Consider it was successful. She did great. She's a natural. She's a natural performer. She's entertaining. She's engaging. She's got all the right stuff. And also her content totally different than any content that any other ex-Scientologists do. Like Reese didn't even talk about Scientology. Ex-Scientologists do not have ex-Scientologists do not have any responsibility just to talk about Scientology when they're online. When they're in the YouTube space. She talked about her life. She talked about her day. She talked about her relationships. Not a big deal, right? For whatever reason, Reese very quickly started making a lot of enemies in her own group. A lot of people who were Reese supporters, were her moderators, would leave her and then speak out against her, and then there'd be all this drama and all this war. I wasn't a part of that world. I wasn't in Reese's Facebook groups. I wasn't in her live chats. I wasn't one of her mods. I wasn't any of that. We were in two separate worlds. We loved to collaborate and we helped each other out. what ended up happening is that a lot of people who were close to me in my world ended up being some of those people who were very disgruntled and angry with Reese. And what would happen is, you know, some of my moderators and some of my moderators' friends would be talking smack about Reese in other areas of the internet. And Reese would reach out to me, and you know, because Reese was a good friend of mine. I would do anything for my friends. And some of the people that were crapping on her were good friends of mine. And Reese knew that she could reach out to me and be like, hey, listen, can you please ask this person to stop doing this over here? And I'd be like, yeah, of course. Of course I can ask. You're a friend of mine. They're a friend of mine. You guys don't have to like each other. If there's anything I can do to intervene here and make life a little easier for everyone, it would be my pleasure. I'm only telling this part of the story because all of you who've been around for long enough, and Reese herself knows damn well, all of the people that started turning on Reese and attacking her, this was a thing that started happening long before Reese and I had any rift of any kind whatsoever. I had nothing to do with any of this. I didn't even understand any of it, other than the fact that what I came to understand and what I came to know is that Reese kind of had this thing, which ironically leads us to her and Tommy working together, where she's kind of constantly fibbing to everybody about almost everything. And again, don't take my word for it. I don't give a shit. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm just trying to say that one of the reasons I stopped doing videos with Reese in the first place is it became very clear to me that she was being pretty much dishonest with almost everybody, almost all the time, about almost everything. And once I realized how much of the stuff she was being dishonest about either involved me or was to me or was about me, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. And so now you guys know I run a nonprofit foundation called the SPTV Foundation that helps people who escape from Scientology. When I created the foundation, I put a whole bunch of other ex-Scientology YouTubers on the board. Reese was one of those people. During all of this time, Reese was my board member. During all this time that we stopped doing videos together, she was still my board member. Even during the time where she started, you know, low-key throwing shade at me in videos, she was still my board member. And yet at one point, and this was after one of the breakups that me and Jenna had, at one point, Reese found a really good opportunity to leave the board that would be really convenient for her. And I won't even get into all that. But what happened is she left the board. And that was fine. When she said to me, hey, listen, I love you. I'm taking too much heat. I don't want to lose subscribers. I got to leave the board. It's nothing personal. I hope you'll still be my friend. I said, of course, I totally understand. Do what you got to do. So she leaves the board and she instantly starts doing videos completely lying about stuff. I was like, Jesus Christ. Now, Reese knew damn well that once she left the board and started literally lying about me and throwing me under the bus, she probably wasn't going to be able to call me and ask me for favors anymore. I mean, this is just normal common sense stuff. She probably wasn't going to be able to say, hey, Aaron, this other person's talking shit about me. Could you do me a favor and ask them if they could just stop? All right. So what happened is ever since that point, Reese actually blames me for any attacks or criticism or hate that she gets from people in her community that she's built, her little insular community. Reese fucks over and lies to and betrays so many people in this community. She's admitted it. If you watch her videos, she'll be like, oh, my former mods who all hate me and try to destroy me. Whose former mods hate you and try to destroy you? I mean, she has a non-controversial channel. Like there's nothing scandalous or controversial about her channel. She talks about her day. There's nothing wrong with that. Where's all these wars coming from? Okay. So what happened is that she then started to blame me personally, and just making up stories. Oh, Aaron's brigading me. Aaron's sending all of his people after me. Guys, I've had a lot of people who were on my board leave my board. Not one of them says, once I left the board, Aaron sent all his minions after me to run me down and destroy my reputation. Even other people who pretty clearly hate my guts do not say that. There is no other, not even Nora, not even Liz say, when I left the board, Aaron sent all of his people after me and they've been harassing me ever since. But for some reason, Reese, who's less involved in my life than any of these other people, keeps selling a story that I am out to take her off of the internet. I'm out to silence her. I'm out to cost her channel. Whenever I see her say this stuff, I just think to myself, why is she doing that? Okay, let's fast forward. That's enough about that. Because there's another thing that has happened. Tommy Scoville, Brett Miller, has had people trying to expose his past and his crimes and his scams and his fraud and his sexual abuse for like 5, 6, 7 years. However long Brett Miller has been on YouTube, he has had people exposing his past. So after Reese exposed Tommy as a con man, a lot of the people who already had Tommy in their sights, and some of the people who had Reese in their sights for whatever reason, latched onto this, and honestly, in my opinion, very rightfully so, signal boosted it, amplified it, you know, shone more light on it, and whatever, right? But all of a sudden, Reese started with this narrative that it's not just me brigading people against her. I'm now the one responsible for every single person on the internet who's trying to expose her boyfriend, who she just exposed. Guys, I'm going to say this for the record. I have never in my entire life encouraged, asked, told, or ordered any single person ever to do any content ever about Reese and Tommy. Ever. Okay? Now, some of my close friends have been particularly active in exposing Tommy. And when those friends have ever told me about anything they wanted to do or were going to do, I've always shown them support. And I'm going to say something I find kind of funny that I say to my girlfriend all the time. If you tell me that you're going to do something and you want to do something and you're committed to it and it makes you happy and you're excited about it, I'm going to give you 100% encouragement. If you ask me for my opinion about it, I might tell you something else. And if you ask me for my opinion and I give you a negative opinion, I am still going to support you if you tell me it's what you want to do. Okay. And so that is sort of the case for one of my very longtime close friends who's been very active in exposing Tommy. You know, if I were to offer an opinion, I'd say, you know, maybe put it in the back. Maybe you don't need this heat on yourself. Maybe you don't need to bear this cross. Maybe you don't need, you know, a target on your back. Maybe it's okay to leave it alone. But if such a friend said, hey, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go, that's great. It's not my job to protect Tommy. I don't care. Okay. I am not the internet police. There's many other people in the ex-Scientology who've nominated themselves the internet police and the police of all ex-Scientologists or all righteousness on the internet. That ain't me. That's not my bag. That's not my game. Okay. I tend to stay in my lane and talk about Scientology. And if I'm going to do a gotcha on somebody, it's going to be someone who's trying to ruin me, my life, my friends, my community, my foundation, whatever. It's not, you know what I mean? Okay. So all of a sudden, over the last several weeks to several months, Reese has been telling everybody, well, her audience, over and over and over again, Aaron is jealous of Tommy. Aaron wants to take down Tommy. Aaron wants to take down me. Guys, I had no intention of doing a 25-minute intro. I thought I was going to get right into the good stuff for you, but I hope you guys don't mind. A lot of this just really, really needs to be talked about. Whenever I would see Reese invoking my name as like the ringmaster, the ringleader, the puppet master, the man pulling the strings behind the scenes, especially when it comes to Tommy Scoville, a guy, I don't give a shit about Tommy Scoville. I did a video about why I stopped doing videos with Tommy last March. I haven't talked about him or thought about him since. And I would see this and I would go, why is she doing that? I don't understand. Here's the only thing I can come up with. You guys let me know in the live chat if you think this is correct. Reese knows she can no longer come and ask me for any favors. So by trying to place the blame for something I don't have anything to do with, for trying to place the blame on me, I think she thought that if she applied enough pressure, tried to get enough people to turn against me or whatever, that I would go to my friend and be like, hey, listen, could you please stop? I don't want to get blamed for this shit. And I'm sick of Reese talking shit about me. Could you please stop? Well, little does Reese know, I don't treat my friends that way. Okay. And the truth is, a lot of these, online stalkers and haters, if they weren't blaming me for this, they'd be blaming me for something else. So what do I give a shit about, right? I couldn't think of any other reason for Reese to make up this lie because she knows it's not true. It's not like Reese is mistaken. Like Reese knows she's just blatantly making it up. It's just one of the yarns that she spins to her audience to make them feel sorry for her and give her money. And more power to her. I don't give a shit. We don't even have the same audience. It makes no difference to me how much money Reese makes or who she's making it from or how. But, anyone who watches her stuff can see that she's just constantly spinning yarns to her audience. And one of the yarns she spins is that I somehow have anything to do with any criticism she or Tommy Scoville get on the internet. I say this without reservation. Ever since Reese Quibell left the board of the SPTV Foundation, I have not even once said, asked, implied, ordered, whatever, anyone to do or say anything about her, period. Doesn't make my life any better. Why do I don't need drama. I mean, it doesn't make my life easier, believe me. Okay. Okay, guys, we're going to get into it because we've talked about a lot of things here. There's Tommy. Well, you know what? I've given a lot of intro. Let me just start playing the video and we'll take it step by step. Okay. So what had happened was, here's one of the things that happened. A few months ago, Reese and Tommy got wind that Marilyn Honig was working on a documentary about Tommy, and they lost their fucking minds. And I truly believe, because it seems like Tommy Scoville will stop at nothing to keep people from knowing that he actually raped a girl, a 15-year-old girl, when he himself was 16. And we're not talking about fucking statutory rape. We're talking about forcible sexual assault. Okay. And they lost their minds. And I truly believe that they were like, oh, fuck. The only way we can get Marilyn to stop this is if we blame Aaron for it completely. And I knew that was going to happen. And in all the conversations that I had with Marilyn about it, I said, fucking go for it. They're going to blame me, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I said to her, if they weren't blaming me for this, they'd blame me for something else anyway. I don't give a shit. So the thing is, Marilyn did a fucking beautiful documentary about Tommy Scoville, the bank robber and rapist. Okay. And it's phenomenal. It's amazing. It deserves to be seen by more people than it was seen by. Mods, go ahead and put a link. Wait, browser lost the connection. Can you hear me, George? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. Okay. Here's Marilyn Honig's channel. Okay. She published to her channel this documentary about 2 weeks ago. I think she published it on July 3rd. Okay. And everybody should watch it. I'll post a pinned link in the comments down below when this video is over. And what I want to do, folks, is I've got a whole lot of timestamps of segments of this documentary. George, by the way, I'm getting all sorts of weird notifications in StreamYard. So if my audio cuts out, just dance around on the screen so I can see you. Okay. We're going to go through a lot of timestamps. Okay. And this is going to try to paint the picture, because keep in mind. Yeah. Well, I'll let this speak for itself here. And that's why I said we're going to take our time here. This is going to be a little time consuming, but yeah, this needs to be seen by everybody. So let's go. This first clip is only a couple minutes long. Here we go. Mm. Guys, I'm seeing some comments that you guys can't hear the sound. Is that true? You guys can't hear the sound? That's probably what that notification was. Okay, you know what? I'm going to undo my screen share, and then I'll redo my screen share, and that should fix it. Let me know real quick. I'm looking at the audio. I'm looking at the live chat. You guys,
Tommy,
can you hear it now?
Treatment of moderators, friends, and audience members. Reports of manipulation, lies, intimidation, and financial exploitation were becoming rampant among some of those who had become closely involved with the two creators. It seemed.
Okay, good. I'm hearing that you guys can hear it now, so I'm going to go back to my original timestamp of 5:06. Sorry, guys. I know this is going to be sloppy and messy, but you know what? Who are we here to impress? All right, here we go.
A landslide. Our numbers are incredible.
As fate would have it, two worlds collided as Tommy began collaborating with an ex-Scientologist named Marisa Quabell, known on YouTube by her channel name Relatable Reese. Their audiences overlapped and the community grew. Reese and Tommy grew closer and eventually began a very public and sometimes very tumultuous relationship. In the summer of 2024, concerns and allegations began to surface surrounding Reese and Tommy and their treatment of moderators, friends, and audience members. Reports of manipulation, lies, intimidation, and financial exploitation were becoming rampant among some of those who had become closely involved with the two creators. It seemed as if anyone who questioned or criticized them were dragged and discredited. Here's Reese talking to her audience about some of her former moderators.
Look at the big picture. We cut out the dead weight. We cut out the cancer. They had enough rope. They hung themselves. Rotten fruit falls all on its own. And it did. The trash took itself out.
It would be months before anyone would come forward to publicly share their stories.
Okay, good. That's the end of the first timestamp. That's a good little piece of evidence of Reese acknowledging that she is at least characterizing herself as being like incessantly barraged by nonstop, constant attacks by former moderators who are just out to destroy her and take down her channel. And it's like, what's going on over there? What is going on over there that is so important that people are getting so hurt and so lied to? And I'll tell you what was going on over there. Reese lies about things to get her audience to give them money. If that's your bag, do it. But when you've got all of these moderators around you and you've got all these people who talk to you a lot, who are good people, they eventually find out that you're lying about stuff. They find out that you're lying about losing your family. They find out that you're lying about not having money. They find out that you're lying about not knowing where you're going to live. They find out that you're lying about what happened with your ex-husband. And because they're good people, they start to talk to other people about, hey, I'm not comfortable with what's going on here. And then, look, con artists don't appreciate being called out for being con artists. So what happens over there is, moderators and close friends who start to who start to like find out what's going on, they get ostracized and they get kicked out, and then they get humiliated and lied to the rest of the community, and that inflames tensions even more. And so Reese creates her own enemies, but it's sort of inevitable because the reason she ends up with so many enemies is because she's lying about so much to get people to give her money, and that's kind of what happens there. Okay, so next timestamp is 9:09. Let me go to it. All right, here we go.
To myself, you what? You adored me in the beginning, and so did Reese, or so they said. It was pretty phenomenal, and I was pretty devastated.
The following are excerpts from the many audio messages Tommy sent to Barb regarding her political views.
You need to get together and start acting like a human being. If you want to be friends with me, act like a human. How's that? You're an ignorant cow, and I'm done talking to you. You're an ignorant cow. You know nothing. Barb, you're an ignorant woman that knows nothing about this country's system and how it works. And you're a liar. How do you like them apples? Because what you're giving me is a talking point, you liar. And I'm done talking to you. You chose the party of Satan, and you can choose anything you want to say to me, but you're full of shit. You go any other way. You chose the party of Satan, the one that voted God out of their party. So you do what you do. The party of Satan is the Democrat Party. I'm sorry. I mean, they started the KKK, right? And they've done dick since. And I'm not going to waste any more of my oxygen on you. I'm not. I can tell you 40 stories, but I'm not going to waste another moment of my oxygen on you. You go ahead and make your mind up, Barb. I don't want to talk to you anymore either. So we'll just choose to part ways here. And it's not because of politics. It's because of who you are. I don't like you. And that's sad, but it's an absolute fact. I have met you, right? I have seen your actions and I have judged you, right? Seriously, that you're not of the tribe that I thought you were. And the people who I end up really becoming close with represent themselves in a way. You're not a member of the tribe that I thought you were a member of. And now that you've been confronted, you've shown who you are. And I don't like you. Have a great life.
Guys, you might think that they were in some sort of a heated conversation or Barb was confronting Tommy with something. Barb had posted something to her own Facebook about 9/11. And I don't know, maybe she blamed the Republicans. I have no idea. She just posted something to her own personal Facebook page on 9/11 about 9/11. And Tommy took it upon himself to literally record voice memos and send them. The reason I included this part of the documentary is because this is the main reason I stopped doing videos with Tommy Scovel. He would do the same thing to me. Now I'm like, oh my God, he sent me mean messages. I don't give a shit, but it's why I stopped associating with him. I don't need a grown man sending me a bunch of angry recorded voice memos like some jilted, ex-girlfriend or something. It was really weird. He would send me these angry voice memos. Oh, you're ruining your channel. And I'm the only one who loves you enough to tell you, and all your friends are scared of you. And they just want something from you. I'm the only one that's going to tell you how it is. I'm like, you don't know me that well. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to keep doing videos with you. It wasn't deep. It wasn't personal. We didn't have some huge giant rift. It's like, I don't know who you are, buddy, but you're not that guy. Okay. That's why I included that part, even though it's like, oh, he sent Barb some mean voice memos, but it's like, it is Tommy just picking on someone who had for no reason. Like, it wasn't like it had nothing to do with Tommy. But Barb at that time was one of Reese and Tommy's biggest supporters, biggest defenders, biggest donors, okay, she does say she didn't send as much money as others. Thank God. That's one of the things she says is thank God. But I wanted to include that because you guys those of you who saw my video from last March, I actually played all the fucking voice memos that this fucking lunatic sent me, right? So that you don't have to take my word for it. I played that shit. And he if he's doing it to me and he's doing it to Barb, he's doing it to everybody. Okay. Not a huge deal. Doesn't get up there with, scamming people out of money and raping women, but there you go. Okay. Let's jump forward to 11:41. Okay. Here we go.
Well, holy crap. Other people need to know they're being swindled. They're being swindled by Reese and they're being swindled by Tommy.
I asked Barb what advice she would give to any of Tommy Scoville's followers.
Buyer beware. He is ever so charming and ever so convincing, but buyer beware. Don't believe what you're hearing. Make sure and research whatever it is he's telling you to give him money for. Because it's not that. It's not going there. Just be aware of who you're dealing with.
Two of the people who also came forward were Alan and Hef. Alan had been very close friends with Tommy, but had a falling out over several issues, including Tommy's unpaid loans and his rude treatment of Hef, who Alan had recently become engaged to. Being aware that Tommy and Reese both had YouTube channels with approximately 20,000 subscribers, and many of those who felt wronged by them had no platform on which to speak out, I invited Hef and Alan to appear on my small channel.
Okay, good. The reason I included this part of the documentary in this thing is that Alan and Hef and other people are examples of people who started attacking Reese and Tommy before Reese was ever able to blame that shit on me. That stuff started happening way before Reese ever left the board of the SPTV Foundation. And because Marilyn has a channel, and because Barb, who used to be one of my moderators, because Barb had a channel, and because Barb and Marilyn were such good friends with Alan and Hef and other people, Barb and Marilyn were two of the people that were saying stuff about Reese. Although, to be fair, it really wasn't Marilyn back then. because Marilyn realized what a tough spot that would put me in to have one of my closest friends and moderators shitting on one of my other so-called closest friends and board members. But even back then, Marilyn would tell me, I hope you know I'm biting my tongue and I hope you know it's just for you. And I'd say, I know, and I appreciate it. And then when Barb would go post shit about Reese would be like, Aaron, please, can you get Barb to stop? And I'd be like, Barb, here's the deal. You can either be, I don't tell anybody what to do. You can either be my moderator or you can attack my friend Reese. You cannot do both. Just pick whichever one you want, and it's none of my business. Okay. That's the extent to which I tried to intervene. But Barb would be like, fine, I'll delete it. I'd be like, thank you. Until the next time she did it. And then Reese would come running to me again, asking me to help. I can't quite describe the betrayal that I felt when I found out that Reese was trying to blame all this shit and the hate that she gets, rightfully so, because Reese cons people out of money just like Tommy does. I mean, Reese is constantly lying to pretty much everybody about pretty much everything, pretty much all the time. So I'm not saying, oh, there's no reason for Reese to get hate on YouTube other than the fact that everyone she's lying to and deceiving. That is why Reese has so much hate. Okay. But when I found out that she was now blaming it on me and saying that it's me retaliating against her for having left the SPTV Foundation, I was like, you know what? That is so fucking low. That is so low. Guys, I don't know how many years it's been since, I mean, it's either 1 year, 1.5 years, 1 3/4 years. I don't know how many years it's been since Reese left the board. But I think I've mentioned her in a video 2 or 3 times in however long that's been. It's been at least 1.5 years, right? And anytime I've mentioned her in a video, it's in passing. And the only unique exception to that was last March when I finally had to do a video about why I stopped doing videos with Reese and Tommy, because they would not stop lying about shit and blaming shit on me. But other than that, I don't fucking think about these two. I don't have anything to do with anybody criticizing these two. Nothing. Now you're like, well, dude, you're doing a video right now. Guys, these guys have spent fucking months blaming me for all of this shit. And even now that Marilyn has come out and published this thing, and we, had a little bit of a tiff with each other, and Marilyn has made it clear, I have nothing to do with this documentary. Do you think these guys have walked anything back in any way? No. In fact, they've doubled down and they've tripled down and they've quadrupled down. And the only story I can tell myself that makes any sense is that they were so terrified of Marilyn doing this documentary that they thought if they could hang it on my neck, I would ask Marilyn to not do it. But then it happened anyway. I don't know what they're doing now, because the funny thing is that now that I am putting this out there, Reese will be able to go to her audience and she'll be able to say, see, guys, I told you he was doing it behind the scenes. See, guys, this is by design. See, guys, this is the playbook. See, guys, I predicted this. It's like, if I do something yeah, when you're constantly blaming me for everything, you're going to be right once, less than a broken clock, but right once every 24 hours. But I'm doing this anyway because I don't care. I'm sick of being blamed for everything. And if you're going to blame me for it anyway, then I'm going to broadcast to my entire audience the truth that Marilyn put out about you, Tommy Scoville, being a con man and a rapist. And the truth, Reese, about you knowing I have nothing to do with any of the hate that you get on the internet. Zero. I don't give any fucks about you or Tommy at all. Zero. The only reason Marilyn ever even talks about you is because you won't shut the fuck up about insulting her and needling her. You needle people on the internet so that they will respond to you, so that you can spin some yarn to your audience about how you're persecuted on the internet by this person or that person. And you do it because it makes you money, and that's fine. But you know what? If you were doing it on someone else's back and not mine, I wouldn't have anything to say. I'm not here to get you off the internet. I'm not here to talk shit about you. I'm not here to be in internet wars with you, but you blame me for everything that you know I have nothing to do with. And here's what I think. I think you can't sell it to your audience as sexy enough that Marilyn Honig has a problem with you and Tommy. That's just not sexy. That doesn't make you a big enough victim. You have to say, Marilyn Honig is Aaron's attack dog and his weapon, and Aaron's been trying to destroy me ever since I left the SPTV board, and Natalie warned me. Really, Reese, you lie about everything. You make up conversations that have never occurred. You lie about Natalie every fucking day. You lie about me every fucking day. And I think she just doesn't think it's sexy enough that Marilyn Honig has it out for her. She has to make me the big bad guy, me the villain, me the guy working the scenes, working everything behind the scenes, because that makes her audience go, oh my God, I can't believe this big angry man is taking out his revenge on you for leaving his foundation. We're going to come to your support. Here's a bunch of money. By the way, Reese's parents support her completely and are insanely wealthy. I know that she will tell you how, oh my God, he's making that up. Guys, listen to me. Reese's parents support her completely and are insanely wealthy. This is what I mean when I say almost everything she says to almost everyone is a fib, okay? And I'll throw it out there, even though this wasn't in my notes. When I accidentally revealed on a live stream for half a second that Reese and I were in touch, and then Reese got officially kicked out of Scientology. Hear me now. Reese did not lose a single family member. This is one of the things that's been my biggest pet peeve, is she gets sympathy by telling lies about me and what happened to her when I accidentally showed her text messages on screen for half a second when I first got this damn MacBook and didn't know how to fucking use it properly. Okay. When Reese was officially kicked out of Scientology, her husband was not a Scientologist. Her son was not a Scientologist. Her mom was not a Scientologist. Her dad was not a Scientologist. Her sister was not a Scientologist. There is not a single family member that Reese lost. But when Reese tells this story, she goes, when Aaron doxed me and I lost all of my family members overnight and everyone I've ever known. Reese has been out of Scientology for damn near 15 years, you guys. And I don't care if you believe me. This makes no difference to me whatsoever. It's just an example of how she's kind of lying about pretty much everything, pretty much all the time. And she lies for Tommy. And here's the only explanation I have. She and Tommy are conning people together. I believe Reese has stayed with Tommy and defended Tommy and attacks anybody who criticizes Tommy and blames everything on me, because Reese and Tommy are scamming people together. That is my opinion. Okay. All right. So let's carry on. If I can remember which damn timestamp. Okay. 12:53, blah, 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 blah. Okay. 24:16 is, oh, that's going to be hard for me to see. Oh, crap. I can't see shit. Oh, there it is. Hold on, guys. Sorry. 24:16. All right. Here we go.
Is he just an ex-con that exaggerates to make money on the internet and is very mean to women and takes advantage of his friends? Not to mention very clumsy and unlucky when it comes to laptops? Well, it turns out that was just the tip of the iceberg. This interview with Hef and Allen, it set off a series of events that no one anticipated. It confirmed our worst suspicions. So here we go. Fasten your seatbelts. On March 1st, 2025, just 3 days after the Allen and Hef interview, Reese did a live stream titled Tommy Scoville and the Long Con. She claimed that her life was in danger because Tommy had found out from our interview that Reese had attempted to contact Allen weeks before. She also said that Tommy and his brother Johnny, aka Kurt Miller, were on their way to kill her. Reese went on to say that she had secretly recorded Tommy admitting that he cons women for money on the internet. She felt she needed to share it in order to warn other women.
Okay, good. And I just honestly can't help it. You know, since we're talking about people who are literally scamming people out of money on the internet, I really want to show you guys these 3 channels. This is where people are being basically groomed and scammed. You've got the Lifeboat channel. You've got, share this tab. Oh, good. The Reese and Tommy Rumors You Can Relate To channel. And you've got the Chase the Heat in South America channel. Okay, let me go to the next timestamp, 2552. Oh boy, I'm getting all over the place here. 25, yeah, here we go. Let's just go here. Oops, Oh, wow. My screen share is totally messed up, you guys. Sorry, I told you it was going to be sloppy. Stop. Share this tab instead. Okay.
I want you to see any of it. So I'm going to stay on screen and provide commentary throughout.
I've been sitting on this for 6 or 7, 8 weeks now. This is an incredibly horrible audio.
I agree. It's very horrible, incredibly horrible audio.
I have to put this out here. I've been living with it. I cannot live with it anymore. And I'm not a part of this. I can't be a part of this. This is how Tommy feels about all of you. This isn't about me, this video. This is about his women on YouTube. And he clearly states how he uses women to con them on YouTube. He goes into extreme detail about how he does it. I've been fighting myself for weeks going,
He does go into extreme detail on how he does it. Absolutely.
I need to tell these women, I hope that you'll listen to this because this is in his words. I don't have to do anything to make Tommy look bad. He needs to be stopped from doing this. And I can't live with anything knowing that. I can't. I'm playing the video now and here we go.
So you do this because you're conning people, just so I'm clear.
Guys, please remember, this was last year, okay? This was last year.
What difference does it make why I'm doing this? I was doing it because I was conning her, and she is mentally unstable. Like, the woman's a unstable piece of shit. She also happens to be really rich. I got somebody 2 years ago for $30K, and maybe you'll hear about it someday. It's a chick, but I didn't tell her I loved her. I didn't do any of that. I didn't con her.
Okay. She's manipulating you.
No yeah, my brother's willing to take that heat for the amount of money that this woman will put up, because honestly, he could use that kind of money, and he's a scumbag who will happily milk her. I mean,
Sorry, I got to stop it right there. Yeah, so his brother is implicated in this. He says he's a scumbag who is also in on the con and is happily milking this woman also. And there are 2 women that are talked about in this video.
Counselor to a psycho. Read that and show me someplace where I'm opening up and talking about the things going on in my life. Right? Go back far enough, you'll find 3 places where I talk to her about what's going on in my life. And at the end of every one of them, you know what happens? Without me asking for it, she sends $5K. If I'm saying anything to her, it's because I'm working her. And it's the way scumbags do. You want to know how a guy works you? I'll tell you. Just think.
So he has it pretty much locked down. He's instructing her in how to con people, essentially.
Case, right? You say something like, hey, how you doing? Not bad. Something's up with the car. And it's nothing big. It just makes this weird fun noise, like a thump, 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 thump on the front. I have no idea what it is. Because what I'm doing is I'm setting her up for Friday on Monday. Right? Because on Friday, I'm going to fund. She's going to text me, and I'll wait for her to text me. Second, I would my thumb card there, and she'll put $500 on the wire. And I won't ask for it. So if the feds ever come, or anybody ever comes, the bitch I took the $30K, I didn't ask for. Never. I just
Who is that?
Condom. You don't know her name. She's from another country. And we had nothing of a relationship. She sent money because she believed in what the
Did she text you like you?
So she's asking Tommy if she texted him, this other woman texted him like the first woman she was talking about.
This is so bad. She's a rapid cycle bipolar fanatic. So
You don't talk to her?
I blocked her. And I said to her, I don't want to do this. You've been so helpful for the boat. And it wasn't about me.
Was she in love with you?
You see, he was scamming a woman that he found in his recovery community. And remember, it's a community that he has fostered while pretending that he was in recovery when really he was drinking and using drugs the whole time. So not only is he lying about his persona, lying about all that, but then the people that come to him for help, he ends up scamming them out of money.
Oh, yeah. But absolutely more overtly than likely an overt act. This woman was in love with me. This is why I blocked her. But I gave her so many chances and documented it.
You know what it is? I think me even just knowing everything you just said, I mean, you're going to make your decision on what you're doing, but I have to tell you, I appreciate your honesty. That's all I wanted from you when we were driving back from Vegas. If you would have just said to me, I'm working her, like, I really thought you guys were best friends.
I did tell you, whether you believe it or not, that this woman is not my friend.
Guys, Reese is saying, Tommy, I was worried that you loved her. If you just told me you were scamming her, that would have been fine. I just want you to be honest with me. Now, guys, when Reese originally played this audio on her channel, it made sense that she was saying that to him at the time, because obviously she's trying to draw him out. She's trying to get him to admit what he's doing. to get it on tape, not that she's really agreeing with him, but that she has to do that to make him comfortable. That made sense when she was exposing him as a con man. Now it has a whole different meaning and takes on a whole new light now that she's doing it with him, or it seems like it, because they got back together. I've heard Reese say, I've apologized for the long con, which was the name of her first video exposing Tommy. What did you apologize for, Reese? Recording your con man boyfriend without his permission? Making it public when you wish you hadn't because it ruined the relationship? What is it Reese has apologized for in recording a con man talking about scamming vulnerable women out of tens of thousands of dollars and then what is it that Reese has apologized for? And now that she's back with him and promoting him and keeping him involved in the ex-Scientology community and helping him infiltrate other communities, it takes on kind of a whole new meaning when she's like, listen, if you would have just told me you were scamming her, it would have been fine. I was worried that you actually loved this woman.
She's basically saying that you should have told me that you were working her. That would have been fine, as long as you're not friends with her, best friends with her.
Never once said Lee is my friend. A woman on the lifeboat that I work. And it's how the con works. This is a long con. I took taken her for 15 grand. Plus, I shouldn't say that. It's probably 20 or 25 by now. There's 3 loads of 5, and I don't know how much other money, but it's probably closer to 25 grand that I've taken from her in 2 years. This is a long con, and it requires stroking the person. There's nobody else I'm doing any counting.
You're not?
No, the money started getting to the point where I could find sustain. And if it didn't, I'd pick one off from the herd.
I'd pick one off from the herd, folks. Reese, she's the only woman I'm conning. It's only this one. It's only this one. But why was it only this one? Because he was able to scam her out of enough money that it covered his nut. But then he says, but when it wouldn't, I would pick one off from the herd. I have heard Reese defend Tommy by saying, guys, he said in the video that was the last one. He said he didn't want to do it anymore. Oh, the con man who's been conning people his whole life told you he wasn't doing it anymore. I saw Reese attack this documentary when it came out by saying, do you have any evidence that this is still happening? And someone was like, what are you talking about? This was just last year. And she's like, no. Still happening now. What the fuck are you talking about? The guy's been a convict. The guy, do you have the evidence? You probably have the evidence that he's doing it right now. It's almost like I've heard the implication being, unless it's happening this month, this week, or today, it doesn't matter that it was happening last year and that he had admitted he's been doing it his whole life. Guys, don't you know he turned his whole life around within the last year? Didn't you know that? He turned the whole life of crime around in the last year. It's unbelievable.
And play that again. The money started getting to the point where I could effing sustain. And if it didn't, I'd pick one off from the herd, meaning his audience, his supporters on the lifeboat, who are people, vulnerable people, who a lot of them are in recovery. So please keep that in mind.
Sustain. And if it didn't, I'd pick one off from the herd.
How often does she give you money? Every month?
No, when I need it. But she consistently puts $400 a month on over the course of a month in super chats or whatever. No, when I need money. When I need money, I don't even ask. And then when she sends it, I bitch. Because that's what a good con artist does. What are you doing? I'm sending this back. I've sent it back twice. Where I just whip the cash back.
He just said that's what a good con artist does. The man is a con artist. He's admitting to have been this way his whole life. And Reese keeps promoting him and supporting him in the community and defending him and attacking anyone who criticizes this guy brutally. And when attacking people doesn't work, she resorts to her old tried and true. Blame it all on Aaron. Aaron's just jealous of Tommy. What would I be jealous of Tommy for? It doesn't even make sense.
I'm not taking your fucking money. Doing this. She turns around, sends it back. Because if you're a good fucking con artist, when they call the cops are going to go, he sent the money back 3 times. This guy ripped you off. Who threw money at him?
Could she call the cops on you?
Anybody can call the cops on you. But the law says this. The law says, if you give it to me, you can't change your mind later and go back and say, hey, I gave him $150,000 and I didn't get anything. What did he tell you he was going to give you for it? Nothing. Do you have a text message? No, because if you say to somebody, give me this 150 and I'm going to do this, you're a con man, you're going to prison. But if you just continue to talk, and the person, I've never asked her for $1.
So he's obviously really thought this through, how to get away with this.
I didn't ask the other bitch for any money either. And she sent 15 and 17. And I'm not going to lie to you. The first time I took her, I didn't need the money.
Jesus.
The first time I took her, I didn't need the money.
But you weren't in my fucking life. And this is what I've done since I was born. And it was so fucking easy. And it was just sitting there. And then I looked her up and saw what she was fucking worth. And I was like, fucking, who cares, man? Honestly, to peel this and isn't going to hurt her.
I don't even know how to con people. I don't know what that means.
This is Reese doing her damsel in distress thing that she always loves to do. What? What does that mean? I've never heard of that before. But that's okay, because she was trying to draw Tommy out. But honestly, Reese did this shit with me all the time. Damn it, there was something I was just wanted to say. Oh, I just lost it. Okay, anyway, he goes, I've been doing this since I was born. And he was just recorded by his girlfriend doing it last year. Do you see? Oh, that's what I wanted to do. The guy is a con artist. We haven't even gotten to the part about him being a rapist. I'm saving that for last, you guys. I'm going to show these fucking channels once again because I can't get enough of this. If you are watching these channels, you are, okay, share this tab. The Lifeboat. You're watching a con artist who's grooming people to steal from, okay? If you are watching the Reese and Tommy Rumors You Can Relate To channel, you are watching at least one con artist who is grooming people they can steal from. If you are watching Chase the Heat in South America, you are watching a channel of someone who is grooming people he can steal from. Protect yourself. Know what you're dealing with. Let's keep going.
I'm sure we've all done it, right? Like subconsciously.
I don't know. I've never done it subconsciously.
Okay. Well, you said it yourself. She's a mark. Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, I picked the crowd. I researched 4 other people, looked at their properties, saw what they drove, right? That kind of shit.
So he picked this person from the herd, researched 4 other people, and now he's going to go into explaining why he only preys on women for long cons and not men. If he preys on men, it's for short cons, and he explains why.
Have you ever done it with a guy?
How I don't ever do it with guys. Guys become violent. Guys want to fight you if they think that they got to take it. Women feel dejected to walk away. They're embarrassed. They don't want to tell their friends. Guys buck up. A guy feel like he got ripped off. He wants to fight you. And if he thinks he can't kick your ass, he calls the cops. Guys are never marks. Unless it's a short con, you're going to get somebody really quickly or whatever. The hardest part is getting rid of the person after the con. Did you do it wrong?
Especially if it's a long one.
Well, every con I do is a long con.
How long ago did you get rid of her?
If she wasn't a psycho, I'd have kept working her. She had more money. Then she sent untraceable. She's gold coins. It's untraceable.
He's laughing about this. Wow.
She FedExed gold coins to my house. South American Krugerrands. $2,600 a piece when I got them.
What were you doing that was making her do that?
Do you really want to hear all that shit? I mean, you want to know what a scumbag I am? Is that going to help?
I don't know. Helps me to put the story together.
She sent a text and said, I haven't heard from you in 2 days. What's going on? Or no, you haven't been on the boat in 2 days. What's going on? And I said I was working with a local rehab, works with kids. Right? Now, the truth of the matter is, I was working with a local rehab that worked with kids. And for $4,000, the people at the local hospital, if I could come up with $4,000, which was their cost for the Suboxone for the entire place, if I came up with cost, they would just give it to us. I was literally paying wholesale what the pharmacy would pay. Now, I didn't tell that part of the story. I said, at $386 a head, $15,000 would get every kid in the room. Right? $4,000 would get every kid in the room. She sent me 15. I really did put every kid in the room on Suboxone because I'm afraid of.
But you took what was off the top.
I took 11 off the top. So I got to do it for about $1,950.
So he took $11,000 off the top and conned this woman out of her money.
Now, I actually want to jump in here because I have seen, and actually, this is going to be covered a little bit later on. Tommy will even lie about the lies, right? So, meaning even this story he's telling Reese likely has inaccuracies in it to make it less horrible than it really was. I don't believe any of these kids were put on Suboxone. The story just doesn't make sense.
Out of $15,000. So, but we did put 46 people on medical assisted treatment. Didn't feel great about that. That legitimately happened. But I stole a fuck ton of that money in the process.
because I stole a F chart of that money in the process.
How old was she? Was she married?
She divorced 2 or 3 years ago. She's 10 times crazier than.
Is she pretty?
Oh my God.
And you don't talk to her anymore?
God, no. She scares the shit out of me. I don't think she misses a show.
She still watches?
I would assume so. Yeah, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's my ego that says that. But when everybody freaked out like a month ago and I got that stupid request of I should do a show, she's like, all the people that were pissed that you could come on and talk to you. And I'm like, all the people that are pissed at me. And now you know.
I do. And I appreciate you telling me.
Same scumbag I've always been.
I don't know who you were in the past.
You're looking at worth off 221 for a grand total of about $50,000 or $60,000.
So they're going to come kill me.
Tommy and Johnny never showed up to Reese's house to confront or harm her.
Yeah. She says they're going to kill me. Now, Reese didn't believe that when she said it, if you ask me, because if you watch the original video, her son is in the background and she's literally saying, Tommy and his brother are going to come here and kill us both. And then she's basically like, son, you take the dog out. And it's like, he can hear you. He can hear you telling everyone that there's a guy coming to kill you both. Reese didn't believe this. When Reese did this original video about Tommy, she said, I've been sitting on this for 8 weeks. What? 8 weeks. You've been sitting on this for 8 weeks. Reese is always working an angle. I realized that when Reese first contacted me through the Aftermath Foundation, she was working an angle. Reese has been conning me from the first day I ever spoke with her. Okay. But anyway, she's like, they're going to come and kill me. And no, they didn't come and kill her. Thank God, because they did get back together. And now Reese is helping the Miller brothers, it seems, scam more people. By the way, so first, Tommy, the communities that Tommy and his brother have infiltrated to scam people out of money. The recovery community, the ex-con community, the ex-Scientology community, the true crime community, the pepper community. What community is next? And why do you keep having to go from community to community? And why is it that every community you end up into, you've got people basically hunting for your head because they find out who you are and what you're up to and what you do? I don't know. Okay, next timestamp, 40 minutes. Sorry, guys. It's hard to see what's up. Here we go. Okay.
Meanwhile, I received some messages from one of the women that Tommy spoke about in the long con audio. She sent me an email telling her side of the story and has given me permission to share it.
1. Why me?
Please keep in mind, this is the woman, one of the women Tommy scammed tens of thousands of dollars out of.
When I joined the lifeboat, I had decades of sobriety and thought I could help others, or at least show that sobriety was achievable. I felt very comfortable with the others in the chat and spoke openly about my ongoing divorce after 28 years of marriage. I was vulnerable, alone, and appreciated the support. I believe my divorce was what Brett was interested in. He reached out on Facebook, and we had several long phone calls. He was fishing. I thought he was a friend. 2. Long con. There were many emergencies that he concocted to find out if I would help out financially. These grew in dollar amount, and the narrative became more convoluted. Any natural concerns I had about him, he hit back hard with gaslighting. I didn't even know about this tactic until a lot later on. I am only telling one of the few. The Suboxone MAT scam/theft. Was it a scam? He tells Reese that teenagers were in fact helped, but he skimmed off the top. He invited me to help teenagers who lived in a house, a refuge. He explained that their parents had given up, and the people running the refuge neither had the funds nor his experience in getting clean.
That sounds like total bullshit. This sounds like a completely invented hoax to me.
He wanted to talk to them, get them on Suboxone, and support their sobriety. Great cause if you're an ex-addict and concerned about teenagers, like I was. I sent £10,000 via PayPal.
Jesus.
Then Brett came up with an idea. There was one casino in Reno he wasn't banned from. He could get his old friend to be his partner in card counting. Brett wouldn't be the winning punter. The other guy, taking his cues from Brett, would win. I expressed my opposition to this, but he went on ahead, texting me from the casino excitedly. They gamed up to $100,000, but lost $40,000 back to casino because the other guy was drunk, allegedly. A recorded audio clip of Brett afterwards. In the background, I heard a man's voice say, "Come get your money," whooping with delight. Brett got $40,000. The friend got $20,000. It all felt very far from the altruistic gift I had sent.
Nothing about this story sounds legitimate other than the fact that I believe the woman relaying the story is being accurate in her, relaying of what Brett told her. This is some huge scam on top of a scam on top of a scam.
3. What happened next? Nothing. I heard nothing. No feedback, no response. He said he was robbed trying to...
There's always something with these guys. There's always some crazy story.
...deposit some of the winning. The story kept changing. By this time, he was distancing himself from me. He stopped replying to text messages, claiming he was dying.
Oh, what does that sound like? Sounds a lot like the current story he's telling down in Ecuador.
4. My divorce. The divorce papers were lost and needed to be repeated. I used this opportunity to try to flush out the truth. I explained to Brett that I would have to account for the £10,000 loss in assets. I needed a receipt from the refuge. Then it got really ugly. The gaslighting was off the scale, but I kept repeating, "I just need a receipt. What's the big deal?" I knew. He knew I knew.
Guys, that's the thing. If someone, this is why I'm just convinced the whole Suboxone thing was a total bullshit story. He could have gotten a legitimate receipt and then doctored the receipt. Like if he's working this, lady, okay, and he's been able to convince her to give tons and tons and tons of money, and all that's required, like that's, I don't believe when Tommy said, "Oh no, we did get the kids on the stuff. I just took it off the top." I think there were no kids, there was no place, there was nothing to get a receipt from. Otherwise, he would have just gotten a receipt and figured out how to doctor it. It's not like he's not clever enough to try to figure that out. He couldn't get a receipt.
So the seeds were sown in the community. He said I was crazy. I wasn't to be trusted. I lie. I set up alternate accounts. I was in love with him, but because he didn't want to be my boyfriend, I was out to get him.
What does that sound like? The same gaslighting that Reese and Tommy do to every one of their moderators or community members or Facebook people or me, who the gaslighting that as soon as, oh, you got to make up this whole story, like this whole Aaron's jealous of Tommy. Give me one way. Give me one charitable way I would be jealous of Tommy. It doesn't make any sense. And keep in mind, after all this shit came out, him and his brother got the fuck out of town and went to Ecuador.
The mods probably know more than me about what lies he told. I was blocked in October 2023. As he said in Reese's audio clip, it would seem that the money I sent was in fact used for Suboxone. The profit that he made on the card counting, he probably did keep.
In addition to the long con saga.
Okay, hold on. I did have my my timestamp does say that segment is supposed to end there. So, okay, are you guys ready? We're gonna get into the rape. And I can't tell you how fucking sick and disgusted I feel to know that I let this fucking guy who knew he had raped a 15-year-old girl when he was 16 come into this fucking community, my fucking community, through my channel, specifically in the aftermath of a rape conviction. How fucking sick and twisted do you have to be? What is going on in the brain of this fucking sick, twisted con artist rapist that he's like, oh, hey, here's a community of ex-cult members. One of their cult members, one of the members of the cult they escaped from, just went to jail for rape. I raped a girl once. Let me worm my way into this community. By the way, forcing a girl to perform oral sex on you is rape. That is what Tommy did. He forced a girl who, after fighting him for 5 minutes and saying no, forced this girl to perform oral sex on him. That is rape. Now he wasn't charged with rape. He's not convicted of rape. He didn't go to jail for rape. He's charged with sexual assault. Tommy's going to lie and say it was just statutory rape. It was just a 16-year-old having a consensual relationship with a 15-year-old. Guess what? It's not illegal for a 16-year-old to have a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old. But anyway, the documentary is going to lay it out, okay? 51-22. And Reese knows all this. Reese knows all this. So not only is Reese continuing to defend for and platform and play defense for a con man that she's exposed as a con man, she knows he raped this girl. This was caught. The police had her wear a wire 3 years later after Tommy was sexually assaulting her as an adult, sexually harassing her as an adult. The police had her wear a wire and get Tommy to, and Tommy confessed to having raped her when they were 16 and 15. Reese knows this. Reese knows this. She's working with Tommy to scam people. She's working with Tommy to scam her audience. Okay. 51-22. All right. Here we go.
Tracer. She was able to find information that was very difficult to locate, especially on someone with such a common name as Brett Miller. A cursory search of this Brett Allen Miller's criminal record on Truthfinder comes up with a brief mention of a conviction of sexual assault with no other details. Blossom found further information on a Vermont state crime site, which listed Brett's sexual assault as a felony conviction with a sentence of 4 to 10 years suspended with probation. Upon further digging, Blossom found an old newspaper article dated May 1st, 1990. It was featured on page 8 of the Rutland Herald, Southern Vermont Brief. It reads as follows.
A 19-year-old Bridgewater man faces a charge of sexual assault stemming from an incident that occurred more than 3 years ago. Brett Miller pleaded innocent in White River Junction District Court recently. He was released on conditions that include a requirement to stay more than 1/2 mile from his alleged victim. Miller was charged by the Windsor County State's Attorney's Office for allegedly assaulting a 15-year-old girl in March 1987. If convicted, he faces a possible 20 years in prison. The victim told investigators that she did not bring charges then because of a fear of publicity, according to an affidavit by the state's attorney's office. But Miller allegedly began sexually harassing the girl in the fall of 1989, the affidavit said. The continuing harassment convinced the victim to bring charges against Miller for the 1987 incident, the affidavit said. The original assault allegedly occurred in a stairway of Woodstock Union High School, where Miller allegedly forced the victim to engage in sexual activity with him. According to the victim's statement in the affidavit, Miller began harassing the victim again in November 1989.
Okay, good. That's the end of that segment. The next one is at 54:30. This, God, you got to see this shit for yourself.
Affidavit. State of Vermont, Windsor County. John H. Halpin, being first duly sworn, hereby depose and say, I, John H. Halpin III, having been a law enforcement officer for over 9 years and presently the investigator for the Windsor County State's Attorney's Office, make the following affidavit. On February 9th, 1990, the Windsor County State's Attorney Victim Advocate made arrangements for me to interview a Jane Doe at the Woodstock High School. Jane had made allegations to a school counselor that she had been sexually assaulted by a fellow student named Brett Miller. I have interviewed Jane and have obtained a sworn statement concerning the allegations. In brief, she alleges that on March 17, 1987, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., she was in the music room at the Woodstock High School. Brett Miller was in the room as well. The two moved to a stairwell that connects the music room with the auditorium, which is located on the second floor. Jane and Brett were talking and had shut the door behind them.
While talking on the stairway, Brett Miller unzipped his pants and took out his penis. Brett grabbed my arm and turned me around. I, at this point, was 2 steps beneath where he was standing. This time, with his penis out of his pants, he held my arm with one hand and behind my neck with the other. He repeatedly told me that there was nothing to be afraid of, pulling me closer. I then told him no, and to let me go. I struggled with him for at least 5 minutes. Then I finally gave in to him, hoping he'd then leave me alone.
Jane told me that Brett Miller had put his penis into her mouth against her will. She was age 15 and Brett Miller was age 16. Side note, they were almost exactly 1 year apart. Jane advised that she had complained to an official at the school at the time, but because of the fear of publicity, would not pursue the case or divulge the actual circumstances. In the fall of 1989, Jane went to work at the Woodstock Inn. Mr. Miller also worked at the inn. She stated,
"Just in the past 4 months, he has bothered me again. We both worked at the Woodstock Inn. Brett would follow me into a room and shut the door behind him. He'd pull up and grab me. This happened 6 or 7 times from November to January. One afternoon, he put $450 in my hand and asked me for sexual favors. About 1 month before that afternoon, he was off duty and I was alone on the 3rd floor. He came up to visit me. He walked toward me, unzipping his pants. I turned and walked away from him. He took his penis out of his pants, asking, 'What's wrong? Don't you like looking at guys' dicks?'"
Jane told her supervisor of the incident, and Mr. Miller is no longer working at the Woodstock Inn. Jane wants prosecution brought against Mr. Miller. She told me that Mr. Miller has heard that she has gone to the authorities and that on February 24th, 1990, Mr. Miller contacted her by telephone and wanted to talk about the incident. Based on the preceding information, the Honorable Judge George Ellison issued a search warrant to record phone calls and in-person conversation between Brett Miller and Jane Doe. A phone call was made to Brett Miller and a meeting took place on the 9th of March, 1990, between Brett Miller and Jane Doe. Mr. Miller and Jane met in the village of Woodstock, Vermont at approximately 1400 hours at Bentley's restaurant. After meeting, Mr. Miller and Jane walked down Main Street to Bond Street onto Pleasant Street. Detective Cable of the Vermont State Police and I personally observed Mr. Miller and Jane together. Jane was wearing a wireless device and the conversation between the two was being listened to and recorded by Detective Cable and myself. This conversation has been transcribed and corroborates that the incident described by Jane Doe did occur. Subscribed and sworn to me on this day, 20th day of March, 1990. So there it is in black and white. To sum it up, Brett continued to sexually harass his victim for 3 years after the initial incident. This caused her to finally go to the police. Her story was corroborated by Brett himself, who was caught on tape. Brett ended up pleading guilty to the sexual assault charges and was sentenced to 4 to 10 years in prison, suspended with probation.
Sorry, my mic was still muted. Pled guilty to the sexual assault. Which said sexual assault constitutes rape? Not all sexual assault is rape. Any forced penetration is rape. This sexual assault was a rape, even though he wasn't charged with a rape, didn't plead to a rape, doesn't have rape on his record. Just like I saw him trying to be like, I don't have any domestic battery. That's because it was never domestic. You know, right? There's never, you know what I mean? Anyway. And okay, you know what? I'm going to let the rest of the documentary do its own talking. 10005, 10005. Okay, now remember I said that Brett kind of lies about everything, even when he's lying about the lies. So, well, here, let's let the documentary. He's about to lie about what actually happened with this girl. Here it is.
Statutory case with a 15-year-old.
Wait.
Brett attempted to do damage control.
I had a statutory case with a 15-year-old. Did you hear that? Okay. They'll take this clip. I had a statutory case with a 15-year-old. Make you think less of me, doesn't it? I was 16. Does that change it? So I had a case where a girl was less than a year younger than me. In fact, she was less than 6 months younger than me. Irrelevant.
It amazes me how he can look at the camera and lie with such ease and with a smile on his face, too. Brett and Reese, who had gotten back together months ago, continued to twist the truth and spread lies about what really happened.
I'll tell you what's up. I don't give a shit. I got a job, right? I was 16 years old. She was 15. Her father found her diary like 3 years later. And they come to my house and go, do you know why we're here? I was like, well, it could be a long list of shit. I was dealing drugs. I was doing all kinds of bad shit. When they told me what I was arrested for, I was like I was struggling to remember who this chick was. Not being disrespectful, but it's the truth. And I hired a very good attorney, and the attorney said to me, did this happen? I said, yeah. And they said, well, you're being accused of forcing her. I said, I didn't force her to do. We were 8 feet away from an entire assembly of people in a high school. We literally snuck over, like behind the curtain. So my lawyer said to me, well, we can fight this. Problem is, to fight it, you're going to get on the stand and say, you did it. I said, right, I'm cool with that. He said, it's statutory rape. I had to plead to this. That means I get busted for statutory, which is 10 years. A 16-year-old and a 15-year-old. I'm looking at.
So I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to rewind it and let the clip play again. Guys, here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy about Reese sitting there nodding like, you tell him, Tommy, and Nora being like, oh my God, I'm finally hearing the truth. Please understand, a 16-year-old having a consensual sexual relationship with a 15-year-old is not statutory rape. He made up this whole fucking story about how he ended up getting charged with this, that he had a consensual relationship with a 15-year-old. And, 3 years later, her dad found the diary and then reported it to the cops. It should be obvious. Well, nothing's obvious to Nora because she's one of the dumbest people I've ever known. Reese knows that this is a lie. Okay. But Nora's sitting there gobbling it all up, not realizing even this lying version of the lie is easily provably false.
10 years. I had to plead to that. They said it's statutory rape. I had to plead to this. That means I get busted for statutory, which is 10 years. A 16-year-old and a 15-year-old, I'm looking at 10 years.
That's crazy. Although Nora Ames, aka Raging Buddha, claims to be a protector of women, she bought Brett's lies hook, line, and sinker. She even apologized to him for doubting him.
What hurt me is you called me a rapist pig. If you remember that, but that's a hard
I actually don't. The thing about it is that, words matter and context matters and intention matters. And the thing I want to say about that is that, I shouldn't have said, I even said the other night, I think that, I take things like that very seriously. And when I'm, that was a reactionary response and it was not, an informed response in the way to respond to that. I've never, like I said, admittedly, I've never had this conversation or really any conversation with you, Tommy. And I should have had taken the time to have a real conversation with you and do exactly what we just did right now and not spoken out of turn about it, because it's just piling on.
Words.
She just fucking apologized to a rapist for believing his victim. I mean, on the one hand, she apologizes for calling him a rapist pig without doing her own due diligence. But now she's having the rapist explain to her how he didn't actually rape someone. And now she's apologizing without also doing any due diligence on the explanation. I mean, the script writes itself. It'd be funny if it wasn't so horrific.
Context.
Spoken out of turn about it, because it's just piling on.
Words, context, and intention do matter. And so does truth. To be fair, Nora isn't the only one who has been fooled by Brett. He has lied to and conned numerous people. That is the whole point of this video, to warn as many people as possible.
Okay, good. And then the last little piece here is 104. Okay.
2005, he was charged with domestic violence. Also, it has recently come to light that in 2005, he was charged with domestic violence in Washoe County, Nevada, and issued 2 restraining orders. He was 35 at this time. Hardly teenage hijinks. In June of 2025, just 3 months after the Long Con video came out, Brett unexpectedly abandoned his life in the United States and moved to Ecuador with his brother. He has lived there ever since and continued with his Lifeboat channel on YouTube, switching from a recovery theme to true crime. Reese has continued the relationship with him and even visited the Miller brothers twice in their new South American home. Why the sudden move to Ecuador? Your guess is as good as mine. Was their past catching up with them? There are a lot of brave souls that came forward to share their stories of being used and abused by Brett, and there are many others who are, understandably, afraid to speak out. I could go on and on about the many scams and schemes of Brett Miller, such as his quote-unquote bank robbery heist, but I have posted several links in the description to this video for those who want to learn more. The pattern of behavior shown in this video tells the story of a serial predator, always on the hunt for his next mark. I was recently sent a quote which sums up Brett Allen Miller, aka Tommy Scoville. The wolf does not need your permission to hunt, but he does need you to trust him enough to open the door.
There you go. That is what Reese has been doing since she exposed Brett Miller as a con man. She's been opening the door. She's been opening the door to an audience of relatively vulnerable women. The exact type of woman Brett Miller was recorded by Reese herself saying he targets intentionally. He researches them. He looks them up. He has his angle. He knows. She recorded him saying, here's how a scumbag sets you up for the kill. He's like, this is who I've been my whole life. I don't know any better. You guys tell me. You guys tell me how you expose someone like this for doing this kind of stuff, and then you go back to helping them. This information being put out is what Tommy hasn't wanted, and then by extension, what it seems like Reese will do anything to do to keep from getting out. I had nothing to do with this documentary. I didn't have anything to do. It wasn't my idea. I didn't come up with the idea. I wasn't part of any planning sessions. I wasn't part of any editing team. I wasn't part of any compilation. I didn't contact people. I have nothing to do with it. Never did. And I don't give a shit that now that I'm doing it, it's going to allow Reese to go, see, I told you guys, this is what I told you. I predicted it every step of the way. I watched a video that Tommy did recently accusing me of some of the stupidest things. And I saw Tommy, because I don't watch Tommy's videos. I don't know how I don't know his whole style of storytelling and everything. But here's what struck me. Tommy and Reese are the exact same way. Just like I will watch Reese with my mouth open. I'll watch Reese with my mouth open, making up conversations we've never had. And doing weird twistings of conversations that we did have. And I'm like, God damn, why is she doing that? And then I watched Tommy recently and I was like, they do the exact same thing. I saw Tommy telling stories about conversations that never occurred. I pretended I've said things I've absolutely never said. And I go, what is with these people? And I really had to come to terms with the fact that it's like, these are two con artists. They don't have a goal other than to trick people into doing things. And in this case, it seems to be just tricking people into giving them money. I begrudge no one for making money. I'm not one of these channels that goes out looking for frauds and scams to expose. But when you're tricking and lying about me to get people to give you money, and you do it every single fucking day for 3 months on end, while I have said not a fucking word about you for over a year. Yeah, I'm eventually going to turn the mirror on you. I'm eventually going to do the thing you've been warning everybody I'm going to do. There. You guys are scam artists. You guys are con artists. You guys are liars. You guys are frauds. There's a reason you have an army of fucking haters following you around the internet. It's not Scientology. It's not me. You guys have nothing to do with Scientology or ex-Scientology at all. You're not on my radar at all. And yet you keep needling and poking and lying and manipulating and deceiving in order to trick people into giving you money. Well, that's your bag, baby. Go and get that bag. But you do it by lying on my fucking name. I'm eventually going to have something to say about it. Okay? I'm going to show everyone once again. This is the lifeboat. This is where Tommy Scoville, Brett Miller, grooms people that he's going to scam out of money, according to his own girlfriend and his own words. This is the Reese and Tommy rumors you can relate to. This is a channel where they groom people to scam out of money, according to his own words recorded by his girlfriend. This is where, according to Tommy Scoville himself, his brother is just as much of a scumbag willing to fleece these women out of the money once he's done fleecing them. Chase the heat in South America. These are lying con artist scumbags, and Tommy's a fucking rapist. And I apologize to the entire SPTV community for ever bringing this fucking rapist con artist into the community. I fucked up. That's my fault. I own that. All right, let's go through some starred comments and we'll wrap this up. It is Friday. We are still doing the Friday night, Friday downtown Scientology protest. It's raining. We'll be out there anyway. Musing became a YouTube member. Oh, God, before I forgot, you guys. Fucking Nora Ames. You fucking lowlife piece of shit, rapist, fucking apologist. You are so fucking sick. You have run around terrorizing and stalking and harassing ex-Scientologists for nothing and practically nothing. And you sit there and apologize and defend for this fucking rapist con artist. You are scum. You are worse than scum. You used to stand for something. You used to care about exposing Scientology. Now all you do is attack and stalk and harass and denigrate and degrade ex-Scientologists and our friends who are helping in the fight to expose Scientology and protest Scientology. You're so sick with jealousy and rage that you would rather defend and apologize to a fucking rapist than support your fellow ex-Scientologists in taking the fight to Scientology. You are fucking sick. You are a sick fucking person. You need professional fucking help. You need institutionalization. Whatever medication you're on, it's not working. Whatever therapy you've received, it's done nothing for you. You've done nothing but degenerate into madness and obsession over the last 3 months. You are a sick fucking person. This is who you defend. This is who you support. Reese supports this guy. Reese scams people with this guy. You're using Lindsay. Reese is using both of you. You're fucking sick. All right. Rev G, it's like he thinks the internet doesn't exist or something. Gen X girl, OMG, what didn't he lie about? Jen Kess, PKA, professionally known as Tommy Scoville. Matt Elliott, you are not to blame AA Run. You were duped just like all of us. Yeah, guys, she was conning me since the first time she ever reached out to the Aftermath Foundation. She knew I was the one that answered all the emails and answered all the phone calls from the Aftermath Foundation. The first phone call I ever got from Reese when I returned her email or the phone message, it went something like this. Because, I let someone tell me their whole story and everything. And eventually like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh my God, well, tell me what's going on. And pretty soon I was like, now I was being very compassionate and understanding, but looking back on this, I see it totally, totally differently. I was like, hold on. Okay. I'm like, all right, so let me understand. So you're telling me you are not in Scientology? No, I'm not in Scientology. Okay. Okay. But you grew up in Scientology. Yes, I grew up in Scientology. Okay. But you've not been involved for a long time. No, you're not on lines right now. No. Okay. And your husband is not a Scientologist. That is correct. Your husband's never been in Scientology. Okay. And you don't work for a Scientologist. No. And your husband does not work for a Scientologist. No. And your son is not a Scientologist. No. And he's never done any Scientology. No. Okay. And your mom's not a Scientologist. No. And I'm like, and your dad's not a Scientologist. And she's like, well, my real dad is a Scientologist, but he disconnected from me when I was like 15. But my stepdad, he's not a Scientologist. And I go, what is it you need help with? And she's like, I just don't know what to do. And I'm like, it seems like you'd be totally fine if you just did nothing. And all she had was her ex-husband's parents are Scientologists. So her son's grandparents are Scientologists. And I'm like, well, why do you feel like you have to do anything? And But you see what I mean? It was kind of this feigned helplessness. Oh, help me, help me. And then she contacts me and she's like, oh my God, my mother-in-law is in Clearwater, Florida on the training evolution under David Miscavige. And I talk to her all the time and I've recorded a bunch of phone calls with her. And I'm like, really? Jesus, that's ballsy. But now she makes it sound like I'm the one who either asked her or told her to record these phone calls. You think I would fucking ask someone to record their family members? And guys, what have we come to learn since? She was secretly recording her own mother-in-law, who now she acts like she's so sad that the mother-in-law disconnected. Secretly recording her mother-in-law, secretly recorded her ex-husband, secretly recorded her boyfriend, Tommy, and then secretly recorded me. This is what I found out recently, guys. One of Reese's old moderators told me, hey, listen, she recorded conversations with you as well. And I was like, I never had a conversation with Reese that wasn't had during a time when we were either friends or not 100% friends, but she was still on my board, which means Reese was secretly recording me while we were still supposed to be good with each other. And this moderator said, yeah, she played the recordings for us. And she goes, the thing is, the recordings that she played were no different than any description you've ever given of these conversations. She recorded the conversation. There was a conversation I called and had with her when these rape allegations were first coming out, because people had to discover Tommy's history of having raped this girl, and this is when Reese and I were not really still friends, but she was still on the board. And I called her up. I said, Reese, listen, I am calling you to have a conversation I'm assuming nobody else has bothered to have, but the truth is, if I'm supposed to be your friend and you're supposed to be my friend, this is the conversation a friend would have with a friend, okay? I just want you to know, people are saying this about Tommy, and it had to do with this rape on his rap sheet. This sexual assault that I'm calling a rape, because forcing someone to perform oral sex on you is rape. You can look it up. It is. I'm bringing it to your attention, not for the truth of the matter. I'm not here to fight any fights. I'm not here to make any accusations. I have no idea what the truth is. I'm bringing this up to you because I think as a friend, I think you would want to know this is what people are saying. And I'm not asking anything of you. I'm basically expecting you to be like, I've never heard this before and I don't want to know. So please fuck off. That's fine. Or I've never heard this before, but if that were true, it would be a huge deal. So let me look into it. Totally fine. Or I have heard this before. I've looked into it. It's not true. I don't believe it. And I'm okay with that. There we go. Or I have heard this before. I confronted Tommy about it. He admitted it. I've spoken to him about it. We've dealt with it. I'm okay with it. Okay. I was just wanting to show Reese the courtesy that I'm pretty sure no one else was going to show her, that, hey, this is what's happening behind the scenes. This is what people are saying, information, people are looking into this stuff. And I'm pretty sure people are going to eventually make it public. This was like a year and a half ago, you guys. This is way before this documentary from Maryland only came out like 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago. And the response that I got from Reese was horrific. She attacked me and made me the bad guy and made me the bad guy. I go, Reese, I don't think you understand. I'm not trying to get you to do anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm trying to show you a courtesy here. I'm not the one about to go public with anything. I feel like you should know this. And maybe your response tells me everything. And it sort of ended up with each of us yelling at each other. And I'm pretty sure I'm the one who hung up on her eventually. So I have told the story of this phone call before. I probably told the story of this phone call in the video that I did about why I stopped doing videos with Reese and Tommy. So Reese secretly recorded me, played the recording for her moderators. This woman secretly records everybody, right? Okay, that's right. So we're going back to when she first contacted the Aftermath Foundation. So it's before the SPTV Foundation. So now she spins the whole story like I asked her or told her or convinced her to start recording her mother-in-law. Completely false. I would never ask somebody to record anybody, much less a family member. And so Reese would call me all excited. Hey, Aaron, I'm scheduled to talk to my mom again today at blah. If you have any questions for me, send them over. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. Are you kidding me? You have to understand, I didn't ask her to do this. I didn't tell her to do this. I didn't encourage her or coerce her to do it. But if she wants to do it, that's great. That's awesome. It's very rare to have someone willing to do that. I got no problem with it whatsoever. But now she turns around like, he was using me. He was using me. And he would be like, I want you to find out this and I want you to find out that. She does that thing. She's a professional spinster. She's a professional spinster. Her manipulation tactics are, this is why she and Tommy are to continue to be together, in my opinion. I think she realized she fucked up by messing up her opportunity to have a partner in crime on continuing to scam people. And so I got to be honest, I don't know how Reese explained to her audience why she was getting back together with Tommy and why Tommy was really a good guy or how he really changed his spots. I don't know. I do not watch enough of Reese's content. I got no idea. But in my opinion, the only reason Reese would get back with Tommy and vouch for him and bring him back in is she's like, oh shit, no. Scamming people is much easier when you got a team behind you. And Tommy and Johnny Scoville, Brett Miller and Kurt Miller are two high-level motherfucking con artists. And Reese is in business and in bed with two high-level motherfucking con artists because Reese is one herself. I've seen her doing it since the day we even started doing videos together. You know, she'd throw that in, oh, Aaron, the day you doxed me and I lost all my family members. That was a deliberate manipulation. She knew I'm doing these videos with her to help her, to give her a platform, to give her an income, to help her make money for herself because she was, well, this was before she and Jeff were even on the rocks. This was even before she and Jeff were ever even on the rocks. It was really just part of the effort of me trying to get as many ex-Scientologists on YouTube as possible. And she and I had great chemistry together. And she's very entertaining and funny, you know, and improvisational. And, but she knew that saying that to me live on a video that I couldn't correct her. I couldn't be like, hey, listen, that's not true. Right. So she's basically kind of holding me hostage. She has me hostage in a video. I mean, I was doing the videos willingly, don't get me wrong, but she knows I can't say anything. So she's looking me right in the eyes like, well, when you doxed me and I did lose everything, she knows I have to remain silent and not correct her. And yet my silence reinforces the truth of the lie that she just said to my face, to the entire live audience. Reese knows that this is the reason I even mentioned her at all a few months ago, is because she goes from person to person and channel to channel, repeating something she knows is a lie. She knows I know it's a lie, but she knows I can't call her out for the lie without somehow looking like a villain. The truth is, it was a huge accident and a mistake when I accidentally showed Reese's phone number and text messages on that screen for that half of a second. And yes, a lot of Scientologists started unfriending Reese on Facebook, who she had never seen or spoken with for 10 years. Reese did not lose a single family member. Not her husband, not her sister, not her mom, not her dad, not her husband, not her son. It's a lie. And she's been working me and scamming me and lying to me and fucking conning me from the first day I ever fucking spoke with her. Okay. Thank you, Marilyn. Good juju. Reese is using Nora, and Nora is so dumb. Yes, that is putting it mildly. He found vulnerable people like a vulture. Yeah. Dogtails. I was taken in by the lifeboat with the mental illness, the mental health aspect. Yeah. Danielle. He accused Reese's child of having drugs when they were his drugs. There should be no reason why she should be with him. This is so true. I think this was in the documentary. I didn't choose to include it in the documentary. Actually, I take it back. It might not have been in the documentary. It was in Reese's original video. Tommy was literally doing hard drugs in the fucking house with Reese's kid there. And Tommy tried to blame it on the kid. And then he tried to blame it on like the maintenance man or the plumber or something. Reese knows who Brett is. She knows who she's in bed with, professionally and personally. Over it. I am so glad you're finally calling all these people out. After months, years of them slandering you, your family, your friends. I'm glad you're not taking it anymore. Thank you. Refkin Baskin? I'm here for Aaron cooking these scammers. Thank you. Caroline, we saw Reese lie. We don't even need to take your word for it. Tina, it was embarrassing how much she wanted your time. Thank you. And I know this isn't an important point, and I know this isn't anyone's point, but there was obviously many reasons why I stopped doing videos with Reese. And I didn't talk about some of the ones that just possibly wouldn't really connect or resonate with people. But one of the things was, honestly, and I didn't say this in my original video because it seems a little petty and a little personal, and the other things are actually more substantial and relatable. It was the way she was constantly throwing shade at me in her videos, even when we were friends. Just subtle little fucking digs. Even if it was, because, Sterling started joining our conversations, and I considered Sterling a very, very good friend. And all the stories that Reese is telling about fucking me and Sterling, total bullshit. Whenever Reese would talk about Sterling, she'd also do it by like insulting me. And it made me really uncomfortable. It seemed like a weird triangulation thing. Like, me and Sterling were friends. You don't need to talk about how one of us is better than the other or how one of us is worse than the other. Like, it's really fucking weird and slimy and felt dirty. And then also how she would call me and just complain that we weren't doing more together. And I'd say, oh, you want to do a video? Okay, what do you want it to be about? And she'd be like, I don't know. What should we do? I'd be like, listen, no. You got to at least give me a kernel that I'm like, if you have one good idea, I'm like, look, we're really good with each other. We have good energy. We can improvise. We love going off on tangents. But I got 10 videos I want to do on any given day. It's hard for me to focus. If you can't just call and be like, complain that we haven't done a video. Okay, you got to at least have an idea. You got to have at least one idea, just one stupid fucking idea that we can start talking about. And then I'll take it from there. You hand me the baton, I'll run with it. But you got to have an idea. And then she'd be like, okay, I guess you don't want to do, and then she'd do a video that night. Oh, Aaron doesn't really have time with me anymore. I don't know. Maybe we're friends. I don't know. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? What this emotional manipulation bullshit? Those are on top of the other reasons that I stated in my video of the actual lies and deception and dishonesty and expecting me to co-sign on her deception to her audience. Just I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, Shebe, the only person that is responsible for exposing Tommy is Reese. It's true. Me again. So you started with two separate stalkers who merged their communities to come after you. It's actually true. I mean, it's weird. It's like these things that happen. It's like nobody would fucking believe this shit, but it's true. It's funny. I got to tell you, I don't consider Reese to be a stalker, and people can be like, Nora's a stalker. Lindsay's a stalker. Those are my two stalkers. Okay. Reese is using my stalkers as a blunt object to defend Tommy. Reese does not care about me. She doesn't care about stalking me. Reese doesn't watch my fucking videos. Reese has been trying to saddle me with the responsibility of all this criticism because she thought it would make me try to get others to stop. I don't know why she keeps going right now. I do not consider Reese to be a stalker. Nora is a stalker. Lindsay is a stalker. They're the only stalkers I actually care about. I've probably got 5 or 6 other stalkers who I can't be bothered with. Okay. Reese is using my stalkers as a blunt object to defend against or to defend Tommy. And I don't fully understand it other than what I've presented here, that I think she's scamming people with them, is my opinion. Okay. Kira Kayaks. Oh yeah. Just looking at their subscriber amount, you're totally jealous. I know, right? April Thomas, 15. That's a literal baby. Damn, April. I wish I knew what you were talking about. Oh, 15 years old. Yes. My youngest fucking daughter is 15 years old. Oh, Nora, since one of the ways you like to defend this fucking rapist, you sick fucking worthless piece of shit. Since one of the ways you like to defend this fucking rapist, Nora says this all the time. Guys, it was 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago. He didn't rape anybody again. You've got to be out of your mind. So why should Danny Masterson have gone to fucking prison? He didn't rape anybody for the last 20 years. Shit, he might have gone 15 years without raping. Why send him to jail? Nora's like, he hasn't raped anybody in so long. Why do you keep talking about it? I don't know, Nora. Why do you keep defending a rapist? Do you keep defending him because you're still believing that it was a statutory rape? It wasn't a statutory rape, you stupid fucking moron. It's not illegal for a 16-year-old to sleep with a 15-year-old. It was forcible sexual assault. It was rape of a child. And he didn't even get fucking charged with it until 3 years later, when as an adult, he was nonstop sexually harassing her at work, cornering her in empty rooms and whipping out his dick. You stand for nothing, you sick fuck. Nora Ames, you stand for nothing. You stand for nothing but hatred and obsession and misery. You will defend a fucking child rapist before you will ever stand with ex-Scientologists trying to expose Scientology. You have no fucking excuse. You are one of the sickest fucking people I've ever known in my life. You will be held accountable for your fucking stalking and harassment. You will be held accountable. Northern Girl. Brett Miller infiltrated this whole community with a purpose. He knew anti-Scientology was a hot topic. Over it. People just can't handle the truth. Erica, Tommy's aggressive rants are to separate the non-prey from the prey. If you keep hanging on after a rant like that, he's got you. That is such a good fucking point. That is such a good point. Wow. I honestly hadn't thought of that. Lisa, I miss hearing you yell, Barb, in the middle of your lives. I don't miss it. It really pissed me off. It also pissed me off when I found out after my new mods took over that it was intentional the whole time. She actually led me to believe that it was an accident every time that it happened. It was actually on purpose, and that pissed me off even more. Ben's Bacon Bits. Then there is the quote by him where he calls her members asshole fans. Oh, okay. Deplorable Duck, Lauren Todd. This reminds me of Bonnie and Clyde. Yes. Reese and Tommy are like Bonnie and Clyde. Northern Girl. Reese was a public. She lived in the real world. She had a real job, house, car, etc. She was not sheltered from the world like she pretends to be. Exactly. I mean, that's part of her story, which was kind of funny and cute when we were doing little bits together, pretending not to know anything, pretending, what do we think? We pretended like Jesus wrote the Constitution or some shit like that. Like we had a lot of fun pretending we didn't know shit, but it was pretty obvious we were joking. Reese pretends not to know shit. Reese has lived in the real world her entire life. She didn't grow up in the Sea Org. She wasn't raised in the Sea Org. I think her dad joined the Sea Org for like 3 months when she was a little kid. Like she's had her last 2 husbands have not been Scientologists. She's had been fully gainfully employed since she was in the real world, since she was a late teen. Like she is not naive or ignorant of the world. It's part of her feigned helplessness. She even did this to me one time when I called her about the Tommy. She's like, oh no, I don't know what to do. Aaron, is Tommy a bad guy? I'm like, is Tommy a bad guy? What are we talking about here? I don't know, Tommy. I've done videos with the guy. Yeah, like, what are you asking me for? Anyway, look, if you watched her, you see it all the time. Oh, what? I don't know how to do this. I've never done. This is my first Thanksgiving ever. What? What are you talking about? How is this? She's like, now that I lost all my family, I'm having Thanksgiving for the first time alone. What are you talking? It's all a play. It's all an act. All right, Kai, catching up. I remember when we started to learn of this saga behind the scenes. Rapist, con man, fake Rolex dealer, fake sobriety, cheaters. What is in the darkness will come to the light. Yes. Dear Bart 92. I used to follow Reese, but I unfollowed her due to the amount of lies that she would tell and admit to. Nothing at all to do with Aaron. She needs to take accountability instead of blaming others. Exactly. That's part of her act is this. Lying, and then being like, guys, I've got to come clean with you. I haven't been telling you the truth, but I did it because I just, but it always repeats. It always repeats. It always repeats. And then she'll only tell as much of the truth as she has to get ahead of whichever close friend just turned on her because they didn't want to co-sign her lies. She'll be like, okay, how much of the truth did that person know? Okay, that's what we're going to admit to. Does everyone understand? Is everybody ready? Okay. And that's what happened to me. The first time I did a video with Reese after having not done a video with her for a really long time, she told me that she had already come clean about this or that. And I was like, oh, okay, good. All right, this is going to be really fun to talk about then. Because then I'll explain this thing and then this thing and then this thing. And she's like, no, you can't say that. And I go, you just told me that you already came clean with them about it. And she goes, no. I only came clean about this part of it. I didn't come clean about the whole thing. I was like, fuck. I didn't come on here to do another fucking video with you to co-sign on your fucking lies. I said, fine, then we'll skip the whole thing. I was so pissed off that I was once again getting roped into her fucking deception to her fucking audience. That's not what I'm here on YouTube to do. If you don't want to talk about something, don't talk about something. If you want to talk about something, just fucking lay the truth out there. It's just, it doesn't work any other way. All right, sorry guys, I probably yelled pretty loud there. Okay, Summer Schmooger? Wait, what? Summer Schmicue? All right, yes, he was married to his lawyer. Wait, yes, he was married to his lawyer wife. She lost her license to practice and became an addict. Well, okay, he probably had a customer then. Just a girl and her cat. Alexa Jones, this is Nora, kept making the argument about their ages, ignoring the whole no means no. Exactly. Nora's like, guys, he was 16 and she was 15. It's like, yeah, and he forcibly raped her. What's your fucking point? I'm sorry, does it not count as rape? Because she wasn't old enough for you, Nora? Like, what's your fucking point? Disgusting. Rhiannon Rose, as a survivor, this is so sad and horrible. Kai says, still catching up. Are we going to get to them secretly meeting at Barbara Mangano's house to fuck all weekend and how she destroyed Jeff's life with sex cult lies? It's so wild. Barbara Mangano is such a fucking villain in the story of Reese and Lindsay and not so much Nora. It's unbelievable. And even this is, I mean, I hesitate to do this because this is what Reese and Nora, this is what Reese, Nora, and Lindsay do to me all the time. They're always like, Aaron told me what he really thought about all of his friends. It's like, yeah, according to these people, I have told them that I hate literally everyone in my life and only they know the truth. So I hate to say something similar to that. But like when Reese came to Clearwater to do these videos with me, I had already said, yeah, no, I'm not good with Barbara. Barbara's not welcome over here. I don't want to see her. I don't want to talk to her. Like, no, Barbara's crossed too many lines with me. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, Barbara's going to pick me up from the airport. And I can't remember if she stayed the night with Barbara or whatever. I just can't remember. All I remember is Barb was dropping Reese off at my house. And I was like, fine. I said, Barb better not come to the fucking door. I don't want to fucking see her. I don't want to talk to her. She's not welcome in my home. And she's like, okay, no problem. So Barb brings Reese over. They stand outside talking for 15 minutes, which annoyed the shit out of me. Because like Barb knows she's not welcome here. She could just drop Reese off and leave. But no, she's got to linger out there for like 15 fucking minutes. So Reese comes to the door. I open the door. Reese comes in the door. She shuts the door behind her and she falls into the door. And she's like, oh, God, thank God. I cannot get rid of that bitch. No, of course, Reese is going to go, oh my God, that's not true. He's just trying to triangulate us. I don't give a shit. You triangulate everybody. You know it's true. Barb knows it's true. And it's true. But the truth is, Reese might just do that to everybody. You know, she might just pretend to everybody that she hates everybody else and you're the only one that she likes. Who knows? Who knows what con artists are going to do? Northern Girl. Good thing Reese is worried about how she looks while Brett is mansplaining away rape. Yes, I love that. Eric Rader, this is just another example of Darvo, the Hut, Nora, showing everyone she is a total coward. Just like when she went Brittany because of a totally immaterial civil matter. Yes, absolutely. Women's athletic programming. WAP. Okay, I'm assuming this means Reese apologized for not talking to him. Oh, not talking it through to him, but secretly recording him. Triangulating. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. Text me, George. Text me. I'll look over. Text me out. She apologized. Oh, women's athletic program. Okay, keep that. Don't delete that star. I'll come back to it. Janet from Another Planet became a channel member. Thank you very much. Tina McBride, go Aaron. Thank you, Betty much. Let's see. Okay. Circus Nightmare. Don't forget that Tommy hurt another ex-Scientologist before Reese, another female. Remember, he got violent and threw a bag at her face and made her nosebleed. Oh no, that was Reese. That was Reese. That was Reese who told that story. Now, Reese isn't the first ex-Scientologist that Tommy has latched his claws into, without saying her full name, because I don't want to totally drag her into it unnecessarily. But if many of you who already know, it was Vanessa. Vanessa is the first ex-Scientologist that Tommy got his claws into romantically. But it was Reese who said that Tommy threw her bag at her face and gave her a bloody nose. It wasn't even another Scientologist. Okay, George is clarifying for me. She means, oh, Nora apologized for not talking to Tommy. Yes, exactly. I'm sorry, Tommy. I should have asked you, the rapist, whether you really raped that person. And that's how you really get to the truth. That's how you really get to the truth. Don't look at the police report. That's crazy. The only one that can tell you whether they raped somebody is the rapist. It's pretty crazy. But Nora is pretty crazy. So, Val, oh, how I wish we could leave these people in our rear view mirror. Oh, Val, I wish so as well. And the truth is we will. But guys, I mean, I've said this in my another video I did recently. When I got out of jail, let my very loving and kind and caring and beautiful and wonderful girlfriend, Jenna, convince me that what was best for me and my channel and her and all of us was for me to pretend that these guys did not exist. And I was like, you know what? I'm on board for that experiment. And for 3 fucking months, I did not say a single fucking word, do a single fucking video, respond in any way. And not only did the stalking and the trolling and the harassment not get less, it got worse. It got worse in every way. The disgustingness of the lies that were being told, the frequency with which they were being told, the number of people that was doing the telling. And so the truth is, I'm just not going to be muzzled. I'm not going to be muzzled. I'm not going to be muzzled. I am not afraid of the truth. Okay. You want to come at me with bullshit? You want to come at me with bullshit? I'm going to respond to you with the truth. And it's not going to be all the time because eventually there's no point repeating yourself, right? Eventually your audience has already heard you and believes you, and the other audience doesn't give a shit anyway. So it's not like, but guys, some things have to be said, you know? Okay. Simone's girl. Why did it take you so long? Bring them out for all their incredible abuse. Some would say this. Some would say this is all I do. Some would say this is all I do is attack ex-Scientologists. Of course, they're wrong. 99% of my content is about Scientology. And for the last, since I got out of jail, 100% of my content has been about Scientology. I'm not the internet police. I'm not the ex-Scientologist police. I'm not the YouTube police. I'm not the police officer of Nora. The difference is, if I do a video about Nora, I'm doing a video about shit she's said about me. When Nora does videos about me, it's just her stalking and harassing me for doing my Scientology stuff, right? So when I do something about Nora, it's literally responding to her. I know you didn't say about Nora specifically, but when I do a video about Nora, I'm literally responding. When Nora does videos about me, she's stalking. She's not responding. I'm not saying anything about her, you know? So anyhow, And also, why did it take me so long? Guys, I don't care what Reese does on the internet. I don't care what Tommy Scoville does on the internet. If they were blaming someone else for their bullshit, that wasn't me, I wouldn't be sitting here calling them liars. But they can only target me for so long before I respond. And I don't know. I don't know. I truly don't know why they've continued to do it even after the documentary came out. I don't know why. I think it's because maybe Marilyn said she was going to be doing a little bit more. I don't know. You'd think that once Marilyn said, Aaron's got nothing to do with this, these guys would just stop blaming me for everyone coming after them. Like, I say that I don't know, but then I remember that I have decided that I know. It's not sexy to say that a bunch of people nobody knows are harassing her. It is sexy to say the big, angry, scary guy that runs the charity is retaliating against me for having left his board and is trying to destroy me, and he wants to silence us, and he's trying to triangulate us all, and he's afraid of our power, and he hates strong women. Oh my God, protect us against the bad man. That engenders sympathy. That makes people want to join your cause. It makes people want to give you money because he's like, he can't stand the fact that I make money. Make all the money you want. I don't care. Keep my fucking name out of your mouth. Stop blaming me for all the people who hate you because you've lied them and conned them and tricked them and deceived them. Even every time someone in Reese's little community turns against her, she publicly humiliates those people to her entire audience who are very sycophantic. She holds these people up to ridicule and scorn and brigading. And that's why Reese has so many enemies. If she just didn't pile on to the people who left her community, she wouldn't have any enemies. Her enemies don't come from me. They don't come from my audience, you know? Okay, Kai says, and secretly meeting Tommy at Barbara's house. Oh, no, we already did that one. Oh, right. Secretly meeting Tommy at Barbara Mangano's house to fuck all weekend while still married and pretending to run into Tommy randomly while in town. Again, you bring this up and it's funny, and yet it's not even something I criticize her for. I don't care if she's cheating on her husband. I don't care about any of that. What I cared was it's like I had to find out a month later that she put on a whole show for me. I had already gone home sick from food poisoning. I was shitting my brains out when I get a call from Reese. Aaron, oh my God, did you know Tommy's here? I'm like, Tommy Scoville is here? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, no, I had no idea. That's kind of weird. Oh my God, I can't believe he's here. But it's like, why did you have to put on a show for me? I thought I was your friend. And maybe she's like, well, I didn't know if I could trust you. And I'm like, I think you knew you could trust me more than Barbara Mangano or Barbara Sylvie. Like, I'm not quite getting it. Like, we were actually friends. I mean, we talk almost every day, but what about this do you think I was going to care about? Right? Like, I'm sorry. How did you, Reese, come to know you could trust Barb and Barb with your secret, but not me? And even if you weren't going to bring me in on your secret, why did you have to come up with a whole act? Like, I don't even get it. I was already at home shitting my brains out. I didn't know anything about Tommy. I didn't care about, this is the other. I swear to God, I'm not kidding you guys. Reese and Tommy have both tried to say that I am so jealous of him that I knew he was coming to Clearwater on that trip and I didn't want to see him. And so I went home pretending to have food poisoning so that I wouldn't have to see Tommy. That's how much jealousy and hatred I have for Tommy. Guys, how stupid do they think people are? I lost like 25 pounds in 10 days from whatever horrific combination of fucking Ozempic and food poisoning that I had at that moment. Like, it was actually kind of a medical emergency. And they're like, oh, he faked it because he has a thing with Tommy. I never had a problem. This is the crazy stories and manipulations and narratives. And they talk the same way. They tell their stories the same way. We know what's happening. We've seen this. We know the playbook. We know how Aaron is. We can predict what he's going to do. He does this all the time. He does it to everyone. We've seen this before. We're not tricked by this. We're not fooled by this. We have him pegged. He can't stand the fact that we see through his lies. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you even mentioning me? You know, I have nothing to do with any of this. This is such a weird act and a charade. And I'll tell you, I know at this point, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, and we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. But it's like to see an entire mythology having been created about me and my role. I love how Nora and Reese will both now act like, oh, this is another crazy story. Oh, I gave them, oh, Tommy said the same thing. I gave them lists of people they weren't allowed to talk to or do videos with. Guys, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. I mean, it's like, what? If anything, maybe Reese would, hey, someone reached out to me for an interview. I don't really want to talk to them. Do you know who they are? Should I do an interview with this person? I'd be like, oh, no, that person's a total dick. And she'd be like, oh, really? I don't know who anyone is. Who should I avoid? I'd be like, well, in my opinion, you should avoid A, B, C, D, and E. Oh, okay, good. Thanks. But you see how that gets twisted. Aaron had a list of people I wasn't allowed to do videos with. No, you asked my opinion. If you tell me you're going to do something and you want to do it, I'm going to support you. If you ask me for my opinion, I might say something different. Anyway. Okay. 617 Boston girl. What? Recorded her dying husband and played online. Oh, are you talking about Tommy as being her dying husband? By the way, why do Tommy and Reese say that they're married? I have it on good authority from someone who knows them that they're not married. Why do they keep saying they're married? I don't understand this. Northern Girl, Click, Stalk, Destroy by Dr. Jessica Taylor. If you're interested in a very good read listen, which will describe what Aaron and many have been going through, I highly recommend this book. Absolutely, you guys. I'm going to be doing so many more videos on this subject of online stalking. Rib Guy, Aaron, it's all your fault. Once again, it truly is. All right, guys, I've said what I have to say on this. I'm going to be doing more videos about the online stalking phenomena. I'm going to be calling out. Like I said, I don't see Reese as a stalker. Reese is a con man who's using Nora and Lindsay, who are my stalkers, for her own benefit. I'm going to keep exposing Lindsay's stalking. I'm going to keep exposing Nora's stalking. That's not going to stop. But you know, I've said what I have to say about Reese. There's nothing else to say. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. We got the protest coming up in 45 minutes. I'll see you there.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe